Hey everybody, it's Sandman here with Darren D. Lee, author of the Tellendale series. We are coming at you live, Donut Connection, Grundy, Virginia, our hometown. We are doing an event, a book signing event today that we are labeled Donuts and Dragons. And that's because Awakening is the featured book that we are signing today. That's book one of the Tellendale series. We just wanted to do an event here since MiniCon back in October for our fans in our city to come out and meet Darren and chat with him about the series. Probably a lot of you have already read it on Kindle and you just want your companion paperback to go with it. So we're going to do a Q&A with Darren though about being a writer, about the series, about his future in writing in this medium, and what can we expect with book two being written right now. So with that being said, Darren, what was it that sparked you to become a writer and to write Tellendale?
I just had a story in my head and I wanted to tell it.
And how long did it take you to get this from your head to where it is now? Well, it's an ebook, it's a best-selling ebook, it's a gorgeous paperback. It's coming to audio via Podium Publishing, the same publishing house that did The Martian, from ebook to audio. What made you decide to get it out of your head and to become a writer?
Well, really, I just thought I didn't have nothing to lose. But the idea had been in my head for around a decade. And then when I finally started writing it, I mean, you were there. I told you about it. It took about 7 to 8 months for the rough draft. It was almost a year for the finished product.
Right.
Release.
Yeah, we're coming on a year now since the whole go period of launching it.
We're over a year. It started being planned in October.
Right.
But I didn't really plan to turn it into this. I was just going to write it and see what happened.
And a lot has happened. We've been in Knoxville, Tennessee. We've been in Rhode Island. We've been in our own hometown. This is our second time here in Grundy. And we have future tours and cities that we're going to that we're going to announce as those plans are finalized. So it's been around. So let me ask you about some of the criticism. You've been targeted and trolled, it looks like, on Amazon by unwarranted, unverified one-star reviews. How has that affected your writing on book two, Dawn's Fall?
It hasn't. Basically, a lot of the complaints in those reviews was the simplicity of the writing, which I wrote it simple from the beginning. I didn't want something overly complex, something people just couldn't sit down and enjoy. I just wanted to tell a quick, fast, fun story. But book two will be different than the first one, simply because the story has evolved. You'll see a lot more complexity in the writing because it's necessary, not because I'm just trying to be complex. And I even had a comment on the bad editing, which is completely unfounded. The editor was great. She is wonderful. She knows what she's doing. And then there's been a few other reviews. You know, they didn't like some of the content of the story, or they wish there was something else in it and stuff. And that's completely fine. You know, everybody's not going to like it. You know, it's like Stephen King. He said, you can't please all the readers all the time. You can't please some of the readers all the time, but you should try to please some of the readers some of the time. And that's exactly what I've done.
Right. You have a niche audience. Let's talk about the gaming roots of Tellendale. How much has gaming influenced the crafting of the characters and the story and the universe of Tellendale?
There's been a trend in gaming for, I'd say, about a decade now, with BioWare being one of the very first to pioneer that route of choices and consequences, and just really, really story-driven gameplay. And I've always enjoyed those. I've always loved stories. And that's, he's here doing his PR thing. He's good at it. But anyways.
He's the creative genius, and I'm the mouthpiece.
Well, I've always enjoyed stories, like even some of the stories I didn't like, I could still acknowledge that they were well crafted.
What video game story do you consider one of the best that you personally experienced? That what story really moved you and motivates you not only to complete a game, but after you beat it, you were starting a new game, playing again because it was just that captivating? What story?
That's a very easy one. That's Mass Effect, hands down.
Heck yeah, in 7, baby.
But you can see this is not a sci-fi novel whatsoever.
So, I think another question we can ask is audio book being done right now by Podium Publishing, which I already mentioned. It's shooting for first quarter next year, around about, possibly second. We're not sure on the date yet, but it's being done now.
Yeah, they've been doing casting, and they have an award-winning voice actor who's being casted, Nick Podell.
Nick Podell, that's awesome.
And I haven't really heard any recent information on it in a few weeks now, but everything is a go, and they're working on it right now.
That's awesome, because there's polls being done among people who are so busy because of their careers and their line of work they're in, and the choice method of enjoying a book when they have the time to do is audio now, apparently, because everyone's smartphones and tablets and PCs and netbooks all are digital devices that have changed the way, even being able to self-publish a book like Tellendale. The digital age has come in, and audiobook is the preferred method for people who are on the go and busy. And so the fact that you were headhunted by Podium because your story was a fit for what they do, I think that's pretty awesome. That's bragging rights worthy.
I try not to brag. I say the best way to be is
Darren the humble.
There's no doubt that Awakening did make some waves. Within 2 weeks of its release, it was in the top 100
Yes,
of its
sir.
genre.
Officially a bestseller.
And then it peaked at number 12, outranking even some works by George R.R. Martin, Tolkien, R.A. Salvatore, other of the fantasy greats.
Tell me about action fantasy. Tell me about the hashtag you created.
Well, with that, my writing style it's different than most people who write fantasy. I would rather show you who the character is than try to tell you. And a lot of people have a lot of backstory and all that for each character. I've tried to get away from that because every book that I've read, it's just kind of tedious. Sometimes page after page after page of description and all that. What I've tried to do is just give you enough to spark your imagination. And then through the characters' actions and stuff, you'll learn about them. You'll learn what kind of character they are. And anything, that would be relevant in their past, I've tried to make that an issue with their dialogue and all of that. So the story will always be moving. There's no pause, no nothing like that. But like I said, from the first book to the second one, there will be more traditional fantasy writing in the second, simply because it's going to have to be that way. There's going to be a lot of revelation in the second
There's
one.
some evolution in your writing style.
Yes and no.
It's still your style.
It's still my style, but there's just some things that will have to be that way.
There's some honing.
They're honing, and then just the story demands this. Like in Awakening, there's things that's left out and stuff. Like it would kind of make the world feel a little incomplete, but that's all on purpose. All of it. There's going to be so much information in the second one. It's really going to be pretty crazy. And the challenge for me in that is writing it so where it's not an info dump, so you can actually take it in and retain that information.
Right. And you did that so great in the flow of Awakening. And I'm not a reader. You're not a reader. We're gamers. We love good storytelling, though. And this medium,
I've read some things, but it's just very hard for me to find something to capture my attention.
Because of the over description.
That too, yes, that. And I've tried to get away from that. Like some description, it's necessary, it has to be. So if I want you to have a valid picturization of how my characters are, and how they grow and what happens and where they are. But I don't want to go 4 pages describing a tree.
Well, as he's writing book 2 right now, Dawn's Fall, and we're aiming for the end of first quarter 2017, possibly April. We don't have a concrete date yet, but the cover reveal. Do you have anything about the cover you wanted to talk about that you can release, or you're not prepared to do that yet?
I don't have a lot of information on the cover, but it's been booked and it's in design. Just from the same people who did the cover for Awakening, who did an outstanding job.
Yes,
Deranged
sir.
Doctor Design. And I will say the cover is probably one strong reason why I've climbed through the ranks so fast.
Those guys at Deranged Doctor Design, they do amazing book covers, and Tellendale is just one of many of their fantastic. And we're looking forward to seeing what Dawn's Fall cover is going to be. We're going on 10 minutes now, so if there's any other questions we could ask Darren, I think we would ask him, how long do you think this series is going to be available after book 2? How long of a story is Leon and Seraph and Kane and all the cast of the Tellendale series? How much longer do you want this story to continue?
It will continue till it's ended. I don't have a set book number. I don't have anything. I have a story. I want to tell it, and however long that it takes.
That's a story that is being created, and it's going to be as long as it has to be. And this is Darren and Sandman here live. We just want to give one more final thank you, big shout out to Sam Runyon and his staff here at Donut Connection in Grundy, our town. Thank you for providing us the space and the beverages and the room to do this and having us and hosting us. So, signing off with Darren and Sandman. We are looking forward to meeting some fans today and expanding the Tellendale fandom. On that end, signing out.